The House Tax Committee will come back to order. Members, what we have is, I will move again House File 5, and this is actually a vote. It would be to go to the Ways and Means Committee. We have a bit of unfinished business from earlier. We have the Schultz Amendment that we're going to take some testimony on. Do we have the amendment? Yep. Oh, we have first of all, the A11. Okay, members, I will move the A11 amendment, which is the technical one that Mr. Michael talked about this morning during Tax Committee. So I want all the members to have it. Do all the members present have the?
Yep. Here's my kit. Okay. Oh.
Okay, members, I will move the H0005A11 amendment. That basically includes what Mr. Michael was talking about, the A7 and the A9 amendments. He said it would be the A10 amendment, but actually it's the A11 amendment. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Representative Erickson. It passes. Now we have the bill as amended before us, and we're very fortunate today to have Mr. Peter Nelson from the Center of the American Experiment. If you could please state your name and just repeat what I said so we know who you are. To the Representative Schultz moves the H0005A13 amendment. Please state your name and who you represent for the record, please, sir.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, my name is Peter Nelson. I'm the Vice President and Senior Policy Fellow at Center of the American Experiment.
Welcome to the committee.
Thank you. So I have looked into some different ways to fund this reinsurance program, and one of the ways that I've discovered that I believe has some very strong legal basis is to charge an assessment to TPAs. And you can do that in a couple different ways. You can charge an assessment to TPAs through just a percentage of the claims that they pay. That is something that the state of Michigan does, and I'll talk a little bit about a lawsuit that was just resolved in Michigan. So that's what Michigan does. And the state of Maine actually developed a really unique program that we really should be taking a very close look at. It wasn't very long running, but that program in Maine started on July 1st, 2012, and it ran through to the end of 2013. But like our MCHA program, the state of Maine's program was stopped because of the ACA. And I will note that the Maine program triggers back on at the beginning of 2018. They've actually gone forward and re-triggered that program unless something else happens in the meantime. And so then this program was funded by a $4 fee, a per person per month fee on anyone that's enrolled through a fully insured plan or through a TPA. And most recently, this issue was resolved in the Sixth Circuit because a lot of people were challenging this sort of approach because they thought it might be preempted by ERISA. ERISA generally preempts any state laws that try to control employee benefit plans. And but it doesn't necessarily control state employee benefit plans that only indirectly have only an indirect economic impact. And that opinion goes back to a Supreme Court case from back in the early 1990s called Travelers. And what's interesting for Minnesota is that after Travelers, we passed our provider tax. And after we passed our provider tax, we had a case that went up to the 8th Circuit called Boyle v. Anderson. And in Boyle v. Anderson, our provider tax was upheld. And it was upheld in light of that Travelers case. And it was upheld in contrast to a Fifth Circuit case where they said the Fifth Circuit case was really, basically they said it was not good law anymore. They basically said the Fifth Circuit had a surcharge, just kind of like the one I'm contemplating right now. They had a surcharge on TPAs of 2.5%. It wasn't on claims paid, it was 2.5% of their revenue from their administrative fees. But this was considered a much less economic, to have much less of an economic impact by the 8th Circuit than what was upheld by the Supreme Court in Travelers. And so from my legal perspective, I think that we have a very strong case to be made that this is an approach that we can consider and that we can have some assurance that it will succeed moving forward, because right now in the Sixth Circuit, it went through an interesting history. This issue went through an interesting history. The Sixth Circuit affirmed this approach back in 2014. But then the next year, the Supreme Court, or maybe it was 2016, the Supreme Court overruled and preempted this case in Vermont called Gobiel. And that was a case about the all-payer claims database. We have one of those. Vermont had one of those. And Vermont required everyone involved, fully insured, self-insured, to give them data, just like we do. The Supreme Court struck that down. They said that that was preempted because it was a clear regulation of the self-insured employer. Clearly giving up data is a clear, direct regulation, and so the Supreme Court preempted that, and after that preemption, the Supreme Court asked the Sixth Circuit to reconsider their prior affirmation of this Michigan tax. And upon reconsideration, they affirmed once again, and since then, on January 9th, I think, 2017 of this year, the Supreme Court denied cert. And so that is a very, so that's pretty clear case law right now, I think, that supports taking an approach like this. And when we're looking forward, I think this is one of the better approaches out there for funding, because it gets to some of the issues that a lot of us have been talking about, that you've heard a lot about in committee, on the benefits of having a broad base. Right now, or in the past, MSHA was funded on a very narrow and narrowing base of only fully insured. And that was a problem for a couple reasons. One, of course, because it was a narrowing base. But
Mr.
secondly,
Nelson,
Yep.
how long are you going to go?
I'm going to go for just about 2 more minutes. Is that okay?
Please proceed.
Okay. That was on a narrowing base, and that obviously made problems for us. And on top of that, many of the people that found themselves in the individual market had at one point been in that self-insured marketplace and been in other fully insured marketplaces. So this is a broad problem for the entire market. And so it does require, in my opinion, some shared expenditures. It's not fair to force a farmer who happens to be required to use the individual marketplace, if he wants to be insured, to use this small pool of people that are very high risk when he's chosen that profession. And so I would like to see us adopt that broader base so that farmer can have some broader shared risk with the rest of the employer-based marketplace. And in addition, I'll finally say this also provides a stable base of funding. We want a stable individual insurance market. We want a stable base of funding that's not subject to the politics, I think, of our budget. Generally speaking, I don't like targeting resources to one thing. I like the fact that every year we prioritize things in a budget, but in this case, a stable insurance market, I think, offers a good reason to make an exception to that rule. With that, I will be open for questions.
Thank you, sir. Questions? Anyone else in the audience want to testify for the amendment or with concerns? Okay, questions for members? Do you want, Representative Loeffler?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair, and Mr. Nelson. I think you made your points well in terms of looking for stability and wanting stability in the insurance market. But this is being proposed now as an ongoing program, and we haven't heard much testimony about the stability that it would actually offer in terms of what it would do on affordability and some of those other things. And since you weren't able to participate yesterday, do you have any thoughts about that? Because this really is a new approach, as the chairman has been upfront about.
Very briefly, Mr. Nelson.
Yes. Mr. Chair, Representative Loeffler, right now, I think the current program that we have is okay for a temporary program. I would want to make sure that anything we're doing today is considered temporary. I'd want to put some end dates on these things so that we can have time to study the stability of the marketplace and to study different approaches. I don't necessarily believe that this reinsurance approach is the best approach for coupling with our current risk adjustment system that we have in place. And who knows whether that's going to stick around under federal law. but they kind of both do similar things, so they might overlap, and some of the research that I've seen shows that that they might not be as compatible as we would like. There's other approaches out there, and we need to keep ourselves open to make sure that we're considering those, because this very well might not lead to a stable marketplace.
Representative Loeffler.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair, and apart from what he was going to say, I was going to ask you, Mr. Chair, about whether or not you had considered making this a more short-term project with some reassessment of the impact, because that's typically what we've done when we've done major changes in program or delivery, and we're not quite sure. I mean, you've been very straightforward about, I think you used the word flying blind, because we're dealing with a lot of unknowns, some of which we can have research on, some of which we don't, and some of which are being controlled by people in DC that we have no ability to really understand what's going to happen. And so I'm wondering if you would be open to, making this more of a shorter program with an evaluation, kind of as opposed to the current bill, which right now has a trigger to reinstate the MCHA assessment, which of course small businesses don't want to have reinstated. And we could avoid some of that consternation if we were to make it a more focused, let's see how it goes sort of approach.
And thank you very much, Representative Loeffler. This House File 5, as it's going to be leaving the House, hopefully, is a short-term fix. It's a short-term fix for 2018-19. The issues in House File 5 are not long-term, forever type things like we usually try to do. So the answer is yes. I'm definitely open to other ideas. In fact, to Representative Schultz's amendment, I think there's some merit here, and I think it needs to be investigated further as we go along. I'll be meeting with Mr. Nelson and with Representative Schultz more in the Senate as this thing goes on, with the governor's office. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of variables, so the answer is yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, because I think that would, as a revenue strategy, I think that would be a wise way to go, and I think it would allow us to get the information to see what kind of adjustments we might need to make. We'd have next session for sure before the next round of the individual market having to create new products, new prices, and so that would give us time to actually assess this first round.
And to that point, Representative Loeffler, I agree 100%, because my goal is to have a market in 2018. I think it's that serious. That's what this bill is going to help us do. And we will be assessing what does the market in 18 look like. If it looks like 17, well, we didn't do the right thing here. It didn't work, and we'll have to reassess it at that time. But like I said, this is not a long-term fix. I don't try to sell it as a long-term fix. And I said I'm open to all funding sources, all ideas. We have the Halverson bill tomorrow in Commerce Committee. I'm going to study that to see if there's some merit or some combination thereof. And I don't have the answers, though. But no, this is a ongoing situation that I think we have to get on quickly here, and it will be monitored very closely.
Thank you.
Other questions? Representative Schultz, you want to wrap up discussion on your amendment, please?
Well, I just want to thank the committee for hearing the bill and thank the chair for considering it and hopefully keep it on the table. So I'm not going to ask for a vote on the amendment.
Are you withdrawing the amendment?
I'm withdrawing the amendment.
Representative Schultz withdraws the A13 amendment, and just so members know, maybe this is it. I don't know. We'll be working more with Mr. Nelson. We'll be working more with the governor's office, the Commerce Department. We have to put something together very quickly, and I am certainly not, Representative Schultz, by any means dismissing this as out of hand. This might be it. I don't know that. So with that, any other discussion? I will renew my motion, then House File 5 as amended be, what's the word? You can't say passed. I got sued about that.
Re-referred.
Re-referred to the Committee on Ways and Means. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion prevails. Thank you very much, members, for your work. Good government all the time. We are adjourned. See you.